Hello, beautiful people. Happy Sunday, and welcome to your practical application of astrology and personal story share. Predominantly, this is going to be personal story share because this week was very quiet astrologically. We didn't have that much going on. There were only two aspects that took place, and then Moon was doing its things. And of course, Mercury is going to move into the sign of Aquarius later on tonight or tomorrow morning, depending where you are in the world. And it's going to have its conjunction with Pluto tomorrow. Mercury will be the first one of the personal planets that will be conjuncting Pluto and ending a cycle that started last year and starting a new one. And of course, if you would like to hear more about that and about the transits that will be taking place throughout the next week, including the new moon in Aquarius, then you can check out my astrological forecast, which is already on my YouTube channel. I uploaded it on Friday, so I'm not going to be talking very much about that here, but I'm going to be discussing the energies that I've been tapping into and experiencing throughout the past week as the after effects of the full moon in Leo, which of course now we are closer to the new moon in Aquarius than the full moon in Leo, but it was the midpoint, right, this week. So yeah, so how's everybody feeling? I have to say, for me personally, this was a very heavy week because we started it with Moon in a sign of Virgo, and then of course Moon was in a sign of Libra, and now just moved into Sagittarius last night, but it was in the sign of Scorpio until then. And these three signs are technically in my eighth house, and then the house where Pluto for me is ruled by Libra because my Scorpio is intercepted. So usually these days, especially when Moon is in Virgo and Scorpio, are usually quite heavy for me, and also because majority of my planets in my chart are in a fixed signs. This last full moon, which was on 5 degrees, actually squared my sun. Exactly, it squared my Pluto, it happened on my descendant, it opposed my ascendant. There was a lot of things going on with that. So I definitely been feeling a lot of tension. And also, as I described last time, I was feeling very, very tired, and this is still the case. And yeah, because we are in Aquarius season, I'm Aquarius rising, so everything is transiting through my first house, which is all about new beginning, but at the same time it's squaring my Taurus and Scorpio planets. So there is a lot of pressure, a lot of tension. And again, throughout the week, I had the opportunity to experience and re-experience the pattern of my past, of my subconscious limited belief system and the projection into my reality, and how that is no longer supporting me, how that is no longer working for me. Because of course, with this full moon in Leo that we had about 10 days ago at this stage when I'm recording this, we had the opportunity to have an illumination of what might be our purpose, what makes us happy, who we are authentically and who we are not, whatever got seeded in August last year, what did we learn throughout that period of time between August and now of course being in Aquarius season and building up towards the new moon in Aquarius, which is not happening in conjunction with Pluto, but it's squared by Uranus. And Uranus is the ruler of the upcoming new moon and of Pluto, and Uranus is the ruler of my chart. And Uranus is still dancing on my north node in Taurus. So yeah, so it's a lot, and I mean, from the previous experience, I know that whatever I'm experiencing is usually the collective energy. So once again, I don't know how this week was for some people. Like, I hope that for some people this was an easy week and everything was fantastic, but for me personally, it was very heavy. And like I said, I had the opportunity to experience the manifestation of my own limited beliefs. So I'm definitely becoming more and more aware of where am I creating unnecessary suffering for myself in my own life, especially with trying to spread myself too thin and not taking good care of myself, which was especially the case in this past week. And that is something that's been coming up for me, and also the people that I follow, which are very, very few these days. This topic of a self-care, it's very, very important. Because of course, when we have sun traveling through certain sign, which at the moment is Aquarius, so we had the moon in Leo and Aquarius, but it's part of the grand fixed cross. and part of that is Taurus and Scorpio. So Taurus still come on the scene at the same time, and it's saying like, okay, well, are you taking care of your needs? Are your needs being met? What's going on here? Are you feeling powerful? Because then do you feel that you can be authentic and individuate? Because it's all coming together, like all the signs that are impacting one another. So I really feel, especially with the theme that is popping up for us, which like I brought to people's consciousness or awareness, that the new moon in Leo and the full moon in Leo were squared by Jupiter. Now the new moon in Aquarius and also the upcoming full moon in full moon in Aquarius that will be happening in August will be squared by Uranus. And interestingly, we have Jupiter and Uranus in a conjunction in Taurus. And the exact conjunction is going to be happening in a Taurus season on April 20th, right after the eclipses. So I'm definitely tapping into some theme here, which, like I said, I usually experience in my own reality. So I manifested it very well for myself. And again, it's taking us back to these stories, the stories that we tell ourselves and the story we attach to, which we keep recreating. We keep recreating our reality based on these stories, based on our beliefs, whatever they are. Whether they are good beliefs or limiting beliefs, it doesn't matter. We keep projecting into the universe, and that's what we are then experiencing, because we manifest in it. So that's why, like I said previously in my previous video, we don't get to experience what we want. We get to experience what we are in resonance with, what we are a frequential match to. So that's why this week and the things that's been coming up for me, like a big sense of overwhelm, despair, tiredness to the point of burnout, and just feeling very agitated to the point of angry and aggressive. And I know it was because my needs were not being met, because I created certain commitments for myself, which I couldn't then change. Well, I could, but it would be quite last minute. So again, can't do that to other people, right? And then through this experience that's been playing out in my life this week, I had the opportunity to really learn about my limits, where I pushed myself to the limit, and it got to its boiling point yesterday, where I literally was going crazy. I was going crazy because I hadn't been able to go to the ocean, go out to the nature since Tuesday. So I wasn't out for 3 days, and I was literally going mad because for me, as I previously mentioned when I shared about my own experience as human, it is very important to spend time in nature, to be able to go out, to be able to disconnect, to be able to fill my cup, especially because my work is with people. Even though it is through internet, it is not like one-on-one physically in the same room, but it doesn't matter because we live in the Aquarian age, and this is the way we connect, even though it's not the same as being in a person, but still energy travels. We are all connected through this field, through the field of consciousness. We are all energetic beings. So it is very important for me to refill my cup because of my work that I do for the world, for the community, for the collective consciousness, whatever label you want to put on it. But because of my calling, because of my purpose and how I self-actualize, it is very important for me to fulfill my own needs, which is the time for quiet, time for meditation, time to go out and to be with myself, to fill my cup, and then I can be there for other people. I can help, I can support other people, I can create a safe container, safe space of non-judgment and all of these things. But because this week I wasn't able to do that for myself, after 3 days I saw such a huge difference in my energy. I was still able to do my work, but the time away from it, because of course most of my work is channeled, so I'm on a different frequency, and I always meditate before most of my readings, so I increase my vibration, my frequency, to be able to meet the energy that is coming through, to be able to support my clients. But in my off time, when I came back down to earth, I was experiencing a lot of challenges. And this is why am I sharing this? It's because of all the energies we are experiencing at the moment after the after effects of the full moon in Leo. Of course, where do you not see yourself, or where do you don't support your own inner child? And my child, she kicked the real fuss yesterday. Like, it was like, no negotiable, we going out no matter what, shut that computer down, everything else can wait, all the messages can wait. And I want to say that if you are waiting for my response, and I know there are people that are, I am very sorry, but I am just not in a space where I can respond to people straight away. So I don't want to be responding people where I am not in a good place, where I can actually honor the energy. So that's why, actually, as I mentioned previously, I turned all my applications on mute. So I don't get notification when anybody sends me message, because it's disruptive for me, especially when I'm doing my work. But also because I want to honor the other person by getting back to them when I can give. And right now, especially these past few days, I didn't have much to give, because I wasn't giving it to myself, what I need. So once again, why am I bringing this and talking about myself like like anybody cares? But because this is the energy we've been experiencing collectively for a very long time. This suppression of our needs, running on empty, constantly putting something or someone else above our own needs, because this is what we've been conditioned to believe. This is the story. I've been talking about this many times. I keep going back to it. And again, because we are just about to have new moon in Aquarius, so we see it in the energy of Aquarian, Pluto's transit through Aquarius, and of course this Aquarian era. And this is the first new moon, because of course in a full moon in the Leo, Pluto already was in the sign of Aquarius, but this is the first new moon when Pluto is in the sign of Aquarius, and it is Aquarius new moon, and it is ruled by Uranus, and Uranus is squaring it. So, and this is a first quarter square between, actually between both, well, Pluto is not squaring Uranus, but the new moon is squaring Uranus, or Uranus is squaring the moon, whichever way you look at it. Either way, it is the first quarter square for Uranus from the perspective of the new moon, which means crisis in action. What do we need to change? And now, what is Aquarius about? It's about individuation, liberation, breaking free from outdated pattern. Well, what is the outdated pattern? Where Uranus is in Taurus. Well, what is the story we tell ourselves with regards to who we are and what we are able to do? What do we need, and how do we get our needs met and our relationship to ourselves? Taurus is always your relationship with you. Libra is the relationship to other. That is then just mirrors back to us what is our relationship to ourselves, because other people treat us the way we allow them to treat us. They don't treat us any other way, just the way we allow them to. And Venus, of course, is still in a sign of Capricorn, and will be still in a sign of Capricorn for this moon, because she will not move into the sign of Aquarius until the 13th. Actually, is it the 13th? I think it's even later than that. 13th is Mars. I think Venus is 16th. Yeah, that will be for the next week forecast. So I don't have all the dates in my head, but I know her conjunction with Pluto is on the 17th. So I'm pretty sure Venus will move on the 16th. Either way, both Mars and Venus are still in Capricorn for this lunation, and they are the rulers of the South and the North Node. So what does this mean? Well, we know that Venus is the ruler of the South Node. Actually, Venus is squaring the South Node herself for this moon, pointing to her own South Node in Libra, which is saying that, well, it doesn't matter what other people telling you about you anymore. It's about what you feel about yourself. What do you believe about yourself? What are the stories you tell to yourself? Because everybody has their own, everybody has their own belief system. Yes, some of them we agree on, some of them we don't. But at the end of the day, they are representing your experience through this life, through this hero journey, this Sagittarius. What did you come here to explore as a soul, right? So it's unique to each and every single one of us. And like I said, in some cases we can agree, in some cases we don't have to agree, because it's unique to the person. However, with regards to this energy of self-care and stuff, well, we want to individuate, we want to break free, we want to, be free to be ourselves. But what does that mean? And I feel, especially because of this Uranus energy that's present for us, and now, because we are in Aquarius season ruled by Uranus, and Saturn, the old ruler, is in Pisces, which is all telling us about, oh, okay, what are we letting go of? Mercury was making the last sextile to Neptune on Friday. What are we letting go of? We identify in something that we are letting go of. What are we letting go of? Mercury is just about to move into Aquarius tonight, as I'm recording this Sunday night, Monday morning. So we need to look beyond. We need to break free from this outdated pattern of the stories that we used to tell ourselves about ourselves, because they're not even true. Like Jupiter is close into Uranus, there's going to be a conjunction, like I mentioned at the beginning in Taurus season. These stories are not true anymore. These stories of, oh, I'm not good enough and I need to put other people's first, and I should not need this, it's not socially acceptable, or whatever is the story. Who cares what somebody else is saying? And you can see it in your own life, just like I had the opportunity to experience it for myself this week, that if I buy into other people's story that, oh yeah, just push through it, just do what needs to be done, just do this, whatever, and whatever can wait, or something, or whatever is the story, it doesn't even matter. Let's not go into all the descriptions here. But what I'm trying to say is that, well, you need to define your own story, because at the end of the day, nobody knows you better than you know yourself. And if we don't give to ourselves what we need, we're going to come across this boundary that just goes crossed, because Capricorn, it's all about boundaries, Venus and Mars, and still Mercury. For the time when I'm recording this video, Mercury still is in the sign of Capricorn. What is the boundary? We are identifying the boundary. How are we going to find out that the boundary just goes crossed? Well, by getting triggered. Uranus, getting triggered. But what is Uranus triggering? Uranus is triggering something that is already within you. So in my case, from my personal life experience, what is triggering for me? Well, I'm the oldest of 4 children. Nobody ever cared about what I need. During my childhood, nobody ever cared about what I need. Like, of course, are you hungry and these basic things, but nobody cared about, like me wanting to be who I was, as an individuated divine being in a human form, being a child. It was like, well, this is what expected. And I know this is the same story for many people. Nobody asks you like, what do you want to be? Because of course there has to be healthy boundaries. Like, yeah, what do you want for lunch? Yeah, I want ice cream. Maybe not, right? Even though that's questionable these days for me. But yeah, for many of us, and this is again an experience which I've been presented with through my clients, because they always offer me a mirror, and I'm very grateful for that. Many of us didn't have the opportunity to, like, hey, who are you? What do you want? How do you want to experience your life? Like, no, because majority of people, from the best possible intention as parents, think that they are here to mold a child. They're here to mold a child into something that they think is the right thing, right? They think they were being given this, gosh, what is it called in English? The thing that is, I really don't know how it's called. I know in Slovakian, but I don't know how it's called in English. The thing that you make shapes out of. We call it plastelina in Slovakian. I don't know how it's called in English. I forgot. Complete blackout of my vocabulary here. But these things that it's like children likes to play with that. I don't know. I seriously can't remember the word, but little kids love playing with it, and now it comes in all sorts of different colors, because you can mold all sorts of shapes, and then at the end, you buy all these different colors, and then the kids usually just mix it all together, and it's just like a goo, and eventually it gets like all hard, and then you can just throw it away, because it's not good for anything anymore. So anyway, especially our parents' generation, they thought that this is what children were. I mean, previous generations, not just our parents, not just my, my parent generation, but because that's what they were told. This is what you need to teach children. You need to teach them who to be. So, they thought that we were this plastilina, this thing, this thing that kids play with, and then you make shapes out of it, you form them into something. So this is what most of us were brought up with, this energy of, okay, we're going to make you into what we think you should be. And that's why for many of us we lost the sense of who we were, like, the natural indication, or natural attraction towards something that would say this is me, this is the right thing for me, and I said no, this is not you, you need to be this, right? So in many cases our needs were not being met, the needs that we had from that authentic sense of self, because then then we had needs which were societally acceptable, right? The needs that were like, okay, you can have this need, that is okay, but you can't have that need because that is not okay, whatever it is. And then of course there has to be boundaries, because children, it's like Neptune, they just came from Neptune, it's Aries, like, oh, everything is everything, let's go jump out of the window, right? Like there has to be the safety precautions. But that's why I even say to my friends who have children now, and I don't, and like I always say that it's the bravest thing in the world to have children, and I am really grateful to my soul that it did not choose for me to have children in this life, because I had no idea how would I cope. Like I have problem coping just with myself and my own inner child. I have no idea how would I cope with kids. So I salute everybody who is a parent, because it is not easy. It is not easy because like you want to do your best, and like where is the line, where is the line, like to which extent do I allow the child to be free to be themselves, and to which extent do we then take it too far, and then or we traumatize. There is just so many things, so many innuendos that people have to take into consideration when they're raising children. And like what I was starting to say, I was saying to my friend that, yeah, especially these Pluto Capricorns, the children born after 2008, and especially the little ones that are still little, it's like, well, you're supposed to create the safety container. You're like a guide, right? You're like a guide to your children. Like you create the safety container, but you're not supposed to make them something different. You're just supposed to protect them while they're little, because the seed is already within them to grow whatever they came here to be. So just like guide them and protect them, and, nurture them, just to water the seed. But it's to what spirit is giving me the analogy is like with the flower. You buy the seed and you grow the flower, and you don't try to make a rose into tulip or something, right? You just go like, okay, flower, you're gonna be what you're gonna be. You're gonna be the color you're gonna be. I'm just gonna trim you and keep you protected and keep you nurtured and safe. And I know what you require, the basic needs, water, nutrition, and sunlight, and all that. And and then you already know what you're gonna grow up to be. The flower that you buy the seed for, like what the flower is gonna be. You most of the times already know the color. Yeah, we can go into all the genetic manipulation, how the through the years, how we created all these new species of animals, and also like breeds of dogs and stuff, and also food and plants and stuff. But if you remove all of that, if you just go by nature, like, okay, what the nature is creating, then the seed knows what is it going to be. It knows what being is it going to grow up to be, and what color, and all of the rest of it, and it knows what is its purpose, right? Like we bought with the seed. So that's what I feel, that especially with these little ones, like we're not supposed to try to turn them into a different flower, like just creating the protection. But how the hell do we do that if majority of us were not being parented the way that we needed to be parenting? So where is the line? And again, I'm gonna leave it at this, because I don't know nothing about parenting, so I don't want to put my foot where I don't know nothing about it. But this is kind of the analogy I've been given. But again, going back to what I started talking about, which is the self-care, it's like when we get triggered, like for example now me getting triggered that, oh my god, I can't go out because this is how my schedule is this week, and it doesn't allow me to go out, doesn't allow me to go to the ocean, la 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 la, and I get all angry. And who am I getting angry with? Well, I created it. I created my schedule, So I'm like, okay, well then what's going on here? Why am I getting upset? And it's also like I was just sharing with my friend yesterday that actually when I'm in Europe, my schedule is completely opposite. I prefer to do things in an opposite way than I do here, because it's a different environment, it's different weather, it's different things that I do here than I do when I'm in Europe. So it's again about the flexibility, the Sagittarius, your truth, your expansion, your journey of discovery is continuously changing, and you got gaining new information all the time. But again, going back to, because I just keep sidetracking, going back to what I was saying, it's like, well, this is how we're learning about ourselves, who we are now, who we are now, and what do we need, and what do we believe, and why do we create these situations for ourselves, consciously or subconsciously, that are based on the belief that is outdated, that are trying to cater to needs that are outdated, like in many cases people pleasing, so putting other people first and stuff. And I'm not saying, don't care for nobody else, but I'm saying that it's time for us to kind of redefine things, right? With all these planets still in a Capricorn at the time of me recording this, Mercury, Venus, Mars, all in Capricorn. It's time to redefine things, because Venus, Mars, the ruler of the South and the North Node, and Mercury and Mars squaring the nodes, and then Venus is going to be squaring the node. So all three personal planets are squaring the nodes, pointing to the South Node as a resolution node, by Venus being the ruler currently still in Capricorn. We need to redefine things. We need to redefine things, and we need to learn to understand what still holds a meaning and is supporting us and what doesn't, and we need to let it go. And with this Uranus being in Taurus, another thing that Uranus in Taurus has been doing, which I already mentioned, is that it makes us reprioritize. It also shows us through challenging situation and these unexpected twists and turns that life offers to us, what we are capable of, so we can actually trust ourselves, and we can actually love ourselves and value ourselves, and look at our lives and go, oh my God, everything that ever happened to me, I've overcome all of it, because I'm still here to tell the story. And that kind of, in a sense, it gives us a proof that, you can do it. And it also is helping us, guiding us to reconnect with ourselves. Like, like I am the most important person in my life. Doesn't matter if it sounds selfish or egocentric or whatever it sounds like, but you are the most important person in your life, because you are the only constant, and your most important relationship is the one with yourself. Because if we don't nurture that relationship to ourselves, if we don't give ourselves what we need, if we don't love ourselves, and if this constant, like self-judgment and criticism and stuff, then this is what we vibrating outside, this is what we creating, this is the energy, the frequency we putting out there, and it makes us feel unhappy, and it makes other people then unhappy, because it's just this ripple effect, just the same way as love and happiness, it's contagious the same way, it could be the sadness and the grief, like it's so anyway, so where I'm getting with this, this is the energy that I've been tapping into this all week, and I think it's because I wasn't giving it to myself, which is this necessity for self-care. And like I said, because Taurus, Aquarius, Leo, and Scorpio, they are all fixed signs, they are all connected to one another, and there is this square from there was a square from Jupiter to Leo full moon, and there is a square from Uranus to Aquarius new moons, which is all about the beliefs and the stories that we are attached to. It's saying that we need to redefine the story that we've been told about ourselves, and we then adopt it and tell ourselves, the story that no, I'm not important, and I don't need this, and I just need to get on with life, and who do I think I am to take all this time for myself, or to give all this to myself, and then feeling guilty, ashamed, all the rest of it and stuff. And we need to change this. We need to change this narrative, because in order for us to know what is our purpose and who we are and what we are here to do and what matters to us, you will not find these answers outside of you. What you will find outside of you is the triggers that take you back to yourself, to realize that, oh, there was a boundary that got crossed. And why is that? Because there was a need that didn't get met. So this is what I was experiencing throughout this week, more and more profoundly as the week was coming to its end, because I was ignoring my needs. And without me fulfilling my needs, I cannot be here for anybody else. And my work is to do with other people. My work is to do with, creating safe space for other people. So if I don't give that to myself, I cannot give it to someone else. So this is why this is so important, and this is the main thing I feel we need to redefine. We need to redefine our relationship with ourselves and who really, really are to ourselves, to oneself. Who am I to myself? So then I know who am I here to be for someone else, and what am I seeking, to find in this connection with the external world. Because like I said, the world, the people will only treat you the way you let them, because it's all a mirroring. Like we live in an energetical universe, and it's becoming so much more present and clear as we go with the times, how all these things are interconnecting and what everything really means, like the bigger picture, what everything really means. I feel is also with this Jupiter coming closer to Uranus, and Uranus nearing the end of Taurus and moving into Gemini next year for a bit, and then it goes back into Taurus. But from 2026, Uranus is going to be in Gemini fully. And yeah, this is a crazy energy, you know, like Gemini is all about multidimensionality, and Uranus going in it is just going to like blow our mind into completely different dimensions. So this is a preparation time where Uranus is still in Taurus. It's trying to ground it, you know, like for me, like when I get these messages and stuff, and then it's like, okay, how do I bring it down to earth? How do I ground this energy? And it's the same thing with now ourselves and our relationship to our physical self and our relationship to our physical body. We need to ground this energy and have a deeper understanding of who we really are and what this body, you know, this avatar, what is it actually facilitating for us, you know, like what is it here for. And I know even with myself, and this is still one of the things that I'm struggling with, which is the self-image, you know, how do we feel about ourselves, how do we feel about our body, and having this acceptance, you know, and letting go of this constant judgment that, oh, it's not, I'm not skinny enough, I'm not this, I'm not that, you know, like all these kind of things, you know, because the society, there is a story that was being told, this is how you're supposed to be, this is what you're supposed to look like, and that keeps changing with the times. I mean, obviously, when we look at hundreds of years ago, what the expectations were, you know, for men to look like, women to look like, and what they should have behaved like, it was different, right? Because this is again a story which keeps changing. Also Gemini, Mercury, the way we identify reality is changing based on the information that we have available to us. And then Virgo discerns, right? And then Pisces dissolves it and all of that. So yeah, so going back to these themes that we are experiencing and have been experiencing throughout these transits, which, like I said, there was nothing much exact taking place this week, but it was all the after effects of the full moon in Leo, because all the planets were pretty much still making the same aspects. It was just on the other side of it for most of them. And now from tonight onwards, tomorrow onwards, there is a big build up towards this new moon in Aquarius. And like I said, this is a seeding of this energy for the upcoming times. Pluto is in Aquarius. Uranus, the ruler of Pluto and the new moon, is squaring the new moon. There is a crisis in action. There is a thing that needs to change. What needs to change is predominantly our relationship to ourselves. How do we each see ourselves, and to find more connection, deeper connection with oneself, and also this sense of peace and balance. We need to find the peace and balance. This is what I feel it's so important, because like I was saying about the full moon in Leo, because it's the opposition between sun and the moon, this is what's required, you know, in order for us to go into this Aquarian age, to have all these experiences of Aquarius that we are hoping for, the higher vibration of those. We need to connect to the heart. We need to still stay present in our human experience, you know. We still need to be able to have that experience in a physical body, because otherwise, you know, you just be going back to the source, and then we won't have the same physical experience. That's why we come here. That's why we come to planet Earth, because when we are in a spirit form, we don't have the senses, we don't have the ability to perceive reality through the same lens as we do when we're in a human body. But then we are being conditioned to make the biggest enemy out of our body, like our physical actual incarnation, us being here in this body. We were made to believe that this is our greatest enemy, it's the oneself. Oneself is your worst enemy, because we are not fulfilling these expectations, these stories that's been projected onto us and said, this is what you are supposed to be, this is what you're supposed to look like, this is what you're supposed to do, this is what you're supposed to believe, this is what you're supposed to behave like. And if we are not conforming and doing that, and I mean, don't get me wrong, you know, me with all my retrograde planets, I never been a conformist, and I always questioned everything and rebelled, even if just for the sake of rebelling. But it doesn't remove this belief, this sense of like, oh, something wrong with me, you know, like a lot of us turn it onto ourselves, you know, this self-hate, judgment, criticism, like I said, all these low vibrations of Virgo, which we are now changing, we are transmuting, we are invited to transmute those. And we have, of course, the nodes moving into Virgo and Pisces from January 2025. So we will be working on more of that. And the South node, right, it's going to be the South node that's going to be in Virgo. Yeah, because the North node will go into Pisces. Yeah, so we'll be letting go of that. And this is, you know, with all these activations we have going on at the moment, in this, we need to find this true reconnection with ourselves, because if we don't find that sense of stability, security, self-love, and this inner guidance, like I keep saying, and you know, giving to ourselves what we need, we will still be externalizing our power to the external world, which is becoming more and more unstable, more and more unreliable, more and more wacky, and then we lost. Then we lost, because we feel that everything I need is depending on the outer world, and if the outer world goes to shit, then I'm not gonna get my needs met, and then I'm not gonna survive, right? Taurus, survival. It's all about survival on the, you know, on the basic level, the baseline of that. Because the human wants to survive, you know, like the physical body, that's what it's wired to do for survival. So the real key, I feel, even though Chiron is in Aries, which of course is about stepping into the new direction and being open to exploring, because Aries is the child. You know, what does child do? Children just want to explore the world for themselves. They're like, no, me, I'll do that. You know, children are like, it's all about them, you know, it's all about them. So this is what's happening right now. I really feel that we are really learning about ourselves. We are really learning through re-experiencing all these old patterns, all these old behaviors, whether it's in our, you know, by how we create our reality based on, you know, okay, I'm having this experience, for example, my schedule is like this and I cannot go out now, so I'm having the experience by myself, you know, it's not like there are people here, right? So I'm like, okay, well, this is one way of experiencing that, or then having someone else in your experience that will project it onto you or mirror it back to you, or whatever is taking place, you know. So there are different ways of how we are having opportunity to recognize these patterns of behaviors, these outdated stories, you know, potentially the attachment to the old not just beliefs, but the things that we thought were important, you know, because like I said, Uranus in Aquarius, Uranus in Taurus, being the ruler of Aquarius, Uranus in Taurus is making us reprioritize by cracking us open, by, you know, like bringing us into all these unexpected, challenging situations and all this. And it's saying like, is this still what matters? Is this still what matters to you? Is this still what is keeping you feel safe and balanced within yourself? Or is it not? You know, like what is it? And of course, Uranus is ruled by Venus. Venus is the ruler of the South Node. So all these things are becoming conscious, like I've been mentioning for many videos now. This year, all these things are being brought to the surface of our consciousness from the subconscious, which is something to be very grateful for, because like I said, if we're not aware, then we cannot change nothing. So in a sense, you know, it's not self-sabotage, because I can say, well, why did I do this to myself? I should have known better. You know, this is a pattern I keep re-experiencing since last summer, you know, like I overbook myself, or I do this, or I do that, whatever I do. And then I trap myself in this responsibility, you know, which I then feel obliged, like, okay, I cannot change this because I'm a responsible person. I need to fulfill my responsibilities, whatever it is, you know. And then again, the pattern is becoming more and more obvious. Okay, this is what you keep doing to yourself. Why do you keep doing to yourself? Is this something that holds a value for you? Is it something that you actually still believe? Where did it come from? Where did it all start? And then like, okay, well, what is getting triggered? And what is the need that is not being met? And why is that? And where is it coming from? And why do I create this situation where I'm maybe bypassing these needs and saying, oh yeah, it's not so important, it's something else is more important? Like all these questions that we can currently ask ourselves, because there are a lot of patterns that are becoming obvious. And I'm sure it's different for everyone, you know, like in your personal reality, I'm sure you are experiencing different things. The details are different, but it's still the same thing. What are we now learning and seeing and understanding that has become outdated, in many cases obsolete? It's a story of the past. And another thing that I just realized this morning was that, okay, well, this is because when I had my channeling with the psychic, and the beings that she channeled for me, that's what they said: let the energy go through you, don't attach to it. There will be energy, because a lot of us are doing ancestor healing, right? There is this energy that has been trapped in times, you know, like through the DNA, through all this unhealed ancestral wounding that became a wounded inner child, and then it's unhealed inner child wounding that became ancestral healing, and that's how it got passed on from generation to generation. And this is something that most people are very familiar with, especially at this stage. So they said to me that do not attach to this energy, just let it pass through you. So actually this morning, because this is something that I've been observing for numerous weeks now, as I keep sharing, every week there is something that I'm overcoming, you know, some pattern, like, you know, like I said, standing up for myself, putting up the boundaries, you know, all these adjustments. And it's not even something like, at the moment, it's not something like major, you know, it's not something like, oh my God, my life has just fallen apart or something, but it's something that is disruptive enough for me to pay attention and to have the opportunity to change the pattern or make a new choice under all circumstances, or at least, you know, to acknowledge that, okay, this is not working for me, this is something that needs changing. So literally every single week there is something going on. So I was like, you know, I was kind of in the dumps this week because of the energy, you know, I felt really heavy energy. Like I said, I'm getting a lot of squares at the moment because it's Aquarius season, you know, I'm Aquarius rising, Sun literally just conjuncted my Jupiter. So there are a lot of things. Sun is going to square my nodes on Wednesday, so I have a lot of activations going on at the moment, and most of them are squares. Okay, so that's why I can feel a lot of tension for me personally in my personal life, because of how these current transits are impacting my personal natal chart. So I knew that there was, you know, like, okay, also with the fact that Moon was going through Virgo, and then now was going through Scorpio, and I do understand this about myself when Moon is in Scorpio, because it conjuncts my Moon, my South Node, my Saturn. They are all in Scorpio, so I know that this is usually where I don't feel my happiest, you know, and I just need to give myself time and space, but I didn't because I was pushing through it. I was trying to keep up with my schedule and my responsibilities and stuff, and I didn't give myself what I needed, and I should have known better. But this is not the time and space for judgment and criticism. It's not like, well, you should know better, la 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 la, because then how do we feel about that? Then we feel guilty and ashamed, and then it perpetuates the same suffering, the same cycle. So again, I'm going in million rabbit holes with this, but, you know, going back to what I was saying, the energy needs to go through us. Don't attach to it. So this is literally the understanding, the voice in my head. You know, this is the inner cognizance that I had this morning. The download was that, this had to take place because there is an energy that is stuck. Whether it's mine or it's someone else's, it doesn't matter. Currently, it lives in my body because it's been passed on, you know, whether it's from my own personal experience or experience of my ancestors or my inner child, whatever it is here, it is present. So it was the matter of let it pass through. Don't attach to it, just let it pass through so it can go. And this is why I felt so called to go to the ocean, because I needed to transmute it. I needed to let it pass through. I needed to connect with the Mother Earth, with the water, with the sand, with the sun, with the, you know, then I needed to go and have nurturing food, and then I felt better. I felt much more myself. I felt much more grounded in my being. I was like, okay, she's back. She's back. I can feel myself. Like, it's not 100%, but it's, you know, it's getting there. And that's all it needed. The energy just needed, like, hey, you need to take time to do this, okay? So this is what I'm trying to explain, you know, like 42-minute long video about the same topic, but this is what I'm trying to explain. A lot of us are not wired, we are not being taught how to work with this. And I'm not saying what I do is the right thing, and I'm not saying it's the right thing for everyone. I'm just saying that this worked for me yesterday anyway. Next thing, something that different might work. Sometimes it's just about going to sleep or something, whatever you need, or take a bubble bath, whatever you need. But for me personally, I need to move. I need to move. For me, it's important to move, because Venus, the ruler of my north node, is in Aries, conjunct Mercury in Aries, and Mars is in Taurus. I need to move. I need to go and do what I know is right thing for me. And also they are in the third house, which in traditional astrology is the Mercury, is the moving, is the walking, right? And this is what is very important for me. I need to be able to move, to transmute that energy. It's not everyone thinks. So that's why I'm saying don't do what I do if that doesn't feel right for you. But for me, I need to move, I need to connect with the elements, I need to be in the nature, and I need to let it go. I just need to let it go through me, not trying to reject the energy, or trying to say it shouldn't be here, or trying to judge it like, hey, I shouldn't feel this way and it's my fault, I did it to myself. It's like, okay, this is not going to help anything, it's not going to help anyone, and let's just try a different approach. So this is what I feel is the energy that probably a lot of people are experiencing at the moment. Why? Because we are approaching the new moon in Aquarius, which of course for people that are very impacted by moon, like myself with Cancer moon, we already feeling the energy. I already been feeling the energy for a week, like I'm really, really, really feeling this energy of this Aquarius moon that is going to conjunct my Jupiter and square my nodes and square my Mars and square my Saturn. I mean, you can't make this up, seriously. But it is going to sextile my Uranus, so that's a good thing. But I mean, apart from that, a lot of squares, a lot of changes, a lot of need for adjustments in my life, for sure. So this new moon in Aquarius is telling us we need to pay attention to what is outdated, because the last moon was squared by Jupiter. What is outdated? What is the story? What is the story that is outdated, that we are holding on to? Because Taurus, for dear life, we fixated on this. This is how it has to be, and this is the only way it has to be. Like with me, with my schedule, this is how I want to do it. This is how I always done it. I like to do it like this. Well, maybe you cannot always do it like that, because maybe your body needs something different today. Maybe you just need to take a day off. So anyway, so I really feel that this is potentially present for many people right now. And it is present because we're coming up to new moon in Aquarius. So apart from you, if you are sensitive, empathetic, or very strongly influenced by moon, you already feeling the moon waning, which is why the energy is getting lower. We're getting more introspective. It's the high priestess energy. You go in within. You also the hermit. You go in within. You are inquiring. You're learning. You're observing. You probably withdrawing from people because the moon is losing its light, right? Like moon just squared the place where will be the new moon in Aquarius, because moon just moved from Scorpio into Sagittarius. So now it's coming into the Aquarian phase, which will be the breaking free stage. Like, okay, now we understood through the square what it is that we need to release. And now, as the moon is approaching the position of the new moon in Aquarius, it's already in Sagittarius, so it's gonna get there quickly in 5 days. We're going to understand what we're releasing. So what are we releasing? The outdated pattern of the past that we are attached to, because we think this is the only way I can survive, because this is how it's being done, because this is the program that has been passed on to us from many, many generations, that this is how it has to be done. But this doesn't work no more, because Saturn, the ruler of the, of Venus, Mars, and currently still Mercury, is in Pisces, in a closing phase conjunction with Neptune. I mean, they're not conjunct, but they are in the same sign and they close into one another. Does it still hold a meaning? Does it make us feel empowered? Does it make us feel that we are following our purpose? Does it make us feel happy? Does it make us feel individuated and seen for who we truly are? Because you decide how other people see you, again, you decide how other people treat you, you also decide how other people, that's why, so many people say, well, people see what they want to see, or, people only see the aspects of yourself that you show them, which is why we play all these different roles in different relationships, like we are not always fully authentic, because we want to belong and we want to fit in. And it's like, I keep explaining to my clients, like, maybe you're trying to fit in somewhere where you're not supposed to fit in, maybe it's okay not to fit in that place. which is again something we were being told, well, we all have to fit in with everything. But that's not actually how Aquarius works. Yes, Aquarius is network, and yes, with regards to Pisces and the source, we are all part of one, but in our own unique expression, which doesn't mean that everybody has to be the best friend with everybody else. It's about like respect and appreciation and unconditional love that comes from heart, which is the place of non-judgment, no polarity. But it doesn't mean that you then have to sacrifice yourself and adjust yourself just to fit where you maybe not supposed to fit. So, taking it back to my experience this week, I've been really learning and observing and letting the energy bubble and then literally blow up and then just pass through, because it was something that I've been ignoring for a long time. And this is what I mean when I said you need what you need, and if you don't meet your need, it's gonna become distorted. And that's either it's going to show up, or both, it might show up both, but it's going to either show up in the external environment, which very likely does, like these dysfunctional relationships, or continuous perpetuation of the same suffering. Or then it can also show up in the internal world from manifesting diseases and all sorts of symptoms, like phantom symptoms, or like things that people cannot find a reason for or explanation for, or whatever it is, because we need what we need. You have your Taurus, it's part of your survival. If you don't take care of your needs, you're not going to survive. And this is not just about food, right, and water and sleep. This is about whatever it is that you need, what it is that I need. And if I don't give it to myself, I'm not going to survive, because I'm going to go crazy and I'm going to, do something stupid, So that's why, well, it's better for me to just take the break and meet my needs, because otherwise, I'm really going to struggle. And this is like, for me, it only takes 3 days, because I am really attuned to my needs. For some people, it can take decades for them to understand that, oh my God, all this time I didn't understand that why this triggered me, or why people kept treating me this way, because I didn't say no to this situation. So this is what I mean. And this is also another layer of the Capricorn theme that we got going on this year, which is about taking responsibility, setting up boundaries, becoming the creator of your reality consciously, and saying, this is not working for me anymore, it's not acceptable, I want something different. And like literally, it's so crazy how I can see this like completely different landscape through my third eye of this world that we are creating, which will be a very different world with very different beings, humans that are behaving very differently. And we are in a transitionary stage right now, in the stage of transmutation, when things are manifesting very quickly and becoming apparent very quickly when something is not working. So if you look at your life, whoever you are listening, if you're still listening, what it is that is showing up for you, that is bubbling under the surface and creating all this pressure that you want to break out of, because it's that Uranus squaring the upcoming new moon. It's saying we need to take an action on something and break free from something that we are holding on to for dear life because of these Taurus qualities, because we think, if we let go of this, I'm not going to survive. But Venus is in Capricorn. She's saying, well, you can change it. You can change this theory. You can change this story. You are the creator. Why would you not survive? You choose the rules, and you are the manifester. So that's what I mean. We becoming more and more aware of these patterns that now needs to go. They need to go because they no longer have place in the age of Aquarius, in Pluto in Aquarius. And like I said, this impersonal planet, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, they're not going to hold our hand and wait for us to catch up. They're just going to go, this is the energy, how you work with this is up to you. And it's an opportunity, really, with this year 8, it is an opportunity for you to make yourself the most empowered version of yourself ever. But we're not going to become that without facing these things that made us feel disempowered. And it doesn't have to be hard, because this is my understanding. The less resistance we put up against this energy, that easier it will be. Like when we know that this is something I need to do, this is something I need to change, and even though it might look impossible, when I look at the totality, what are the first steps? What is the step-by-step process that will eventually get you there? But the point is to start and to put one foot in front of the other, and then eventually you'll get there. And now we are living in a time where everything is happening at an accelerated pace. So the getting there is becoming very quick. I mean, do you know that 2 weeks from now, when I'm recording this, Sun will move into Pisces? So in 2 weeks, we'll be entering Pisces season. So we're already halfway through Aquarius season, and we haven't even had new moon in Aquarius. This is how bonkers, the time has become. Like I literally was saying that to my friend yesterday, that months feel like weeks. Yeah, months feel like it's been a week, and week feels like it's been a day, and days are just passing so quickly that literally every time I look at my watch, it's like 4 hours later, and I'm like, where has the time gone? So that's what I mean. This is it is so interesting, because I know for a lot of people this might be triggering, because a lot of people are not going through the best time of their lives. But what do I know? I'm not projecting stories out there. I just, know that it is probably hard for many people with the current energies, especially if they're unaware why is it happening and what is causing it. But on the other hand, these really are the most exciting times, because we can transmute everything so quickly. We won't have to be born over and over again to relive all these things and all these lessons, and to fix one thing at the time and then create more karma in the process, whatever it is. But we're living in a time where everything can be done very quickly, because these things that we inherited and brought with ourselves from past life, inherited from our ancestors, these things, they will not exist in the age of Aquarius. They will not exist. They don't have a place there. It's a completely different reality that we are creating, that we are entering into. And Saturn, that in traditional astrology rules karma, is in Pisces. It's in Pisces. It's time to let it all go. And we absolutely can. All we need to be is just be present and don't put the resistance where your own body is telling you, just like it's been telling me and I was ignoring it, that you need what you need. Go and get it. If you need that break, if you need that day off, if you need that walk, if you need that whatever it is, obviously, yeah, if I'm just gonna get an ice cream because I want to numb myself out and I don't want to feel nothing and I want to feel better because of the sugar rush, I'm not sure if that's the right solution. But you are your own Capricorn. You decide. You have the power of discernment, right? So anyway, guys, 55 minutes. I think it's a time for me to read the message that I wrote prior to prior to the recording, and then I'm gonna leave it at that. So I asked my guides to share a message for today. So this is what I received. Embrace who you are, the totality of your beautiful human selves. You never really appreciate what you have until it's gone. Why not enjoy now? Why not live life to its fullest? There is so much fear and stuckness. Most of it's not even yours. Fear passed on from generations to generations because of the disconnection to the spirit, to the totality of who you are. Because you are divine and you are powerful, it is those belief systems and stories you tell yourselves that make you believe something completely different, something that's mostly just a story. Sometimes a good one, sometimes more challenging one. Depends on the perspective and your attachment to it. It's time to reevaluate, to get to know yourselves better, your true self. Look into the depths of your heart. It will tell you the truth. It will guide you to the right place for you. The truth that will ring right to your ears because it will be in alignment with your heart. It's time to take care of yourselves. Time to prepare for this massively transformative year. Many of you are running out on empty. There are always more important things to do, more important people to take care of, so you tell yourselves. And this is where you were misled. This is one of the so-called truths that is not very true. Unless you take care of yourself and fill the tank of yours with the right nutrients, you'll be no good to anybody. Beware what you're putting into your body, into your mind, into your heart and soul. What are you feeding yourself? How are you feeding yourself? Do you even have the time to sit and enjoy? Mostly not. Most of you are on the constant go. Don't feel bad about it. It's the way the world is wired to behave right now. However, observe it. It is serving you. Is it serving you? Is it making you feel nurtured and taken care of? Because it is you nurturing yourself. You are the number one priority. You are your number one responsibility. It's time to dedicate some time to you. The times you are living in are changing very quickly. The time itself is passing at the accelerated rate. Make sure some of that time is used to take care of you, because you need to be strong, you need to be balanced, and you need to be able to give to yourself the right nutrients for you, to be able to find peace in the world that's far away from being at peace right now. However, how to bring more peace frequency to it when most of the world is not experiencing it, because most of you are not experiencing it. The peace needs to come from within. Only then you'll see it reflected in the outer world. The only way you feel at peace is if you give it to yourself. If you give yourself what you truly need to feel at peace. What does your soul desires? What is your heart asking you for? When do you feel at peace? It's time to discover it, to recover it from the depths of your soul. It is there, it's always been there, just like love, because the two are interconnected. Reach into yourself to find out what you need and then give it to yourself. Recreate the sense of peace in your life and then give it to the world by becoming it. This is why loving yourself and taking care of yourself is so essential. It's not selfish, it's necessary. It is up to you. You decide if you want it enough to make time for it, to make time for you, because you have a free will. So choose wisely, dear children of Earth. The time is speeding up, and that which you came here to offer to the world is needed. Take care of your well-being so you can be strong, to be present and withstand any challenges your soul chose for you to go through, individually and collectively. The time is now. Love yourself. You are divine. May peace be with you. This is it. This is what I've got. And yeah, I hope that this has been helpful to someone. If you're still listening, thank you for your support. If you like my content, please like and subscribe. Share if you think somebody else would benefit. And yeah, I wish you all a beautiful week ahead. It is going to be a busy week, very different energy from the week we are just ending. Once again, we are ending a week and starting a new one with Moon in a mutable sign. This is the one before the last. There will be one more next week in Pisces. This time is Sagittarius, which is all about expansion, growth, and searching what is the truth, right? And we are fast approaching the new moon in Aquarius, so let's see what energies it will seed for us and offer to us. So yeah, let's just leave it there. I wish you all a beautiful day, beautiful week ahead, beautiful new moon in Aquarius, and I'll speak to you again next week. Much love, everyone. Bye for now.